So I am really excited to be going live here. I am trying to stream from Facebook and I am also streaming from Instagram. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Pentagon of burnout recovery, and it's 5 shifts that I want to teach you. These 5 shifts are really, really important because I find with the coaching clients that I work with that pay me a lot of money to customize a recovery program for them based on their genetics, based on their epigenetics. I'll just bring this a little bit closer. And I don't know why it's not connecting for Instagram. I won't worry about that. So for the coaching clients that I work with, I find that when we put together a customized program looking at their genetics and looking at their epigenetics, looking at their past history, looking at their major stressors, looking at their nutritional strategies, helping them manage their stressors. I find that there's 5 main things, and I'm just going to turn this off because it's annoying me. There's 5 main things that we look at that everyone needs to know, even if they didn't work with me one-on-one. And there's 5 major shifts that I want to teach you about. The first one is the perception of stress. And the body doesn't really know the difference between an actual occurrence and a psychological occurrence, meaning it may not have happened, but it still happened because your body went into motion and the domino effect happened. The second shift that everyone needs to learn about is called the blood sugar awareness shift. Blood sugar, a lot of the times people are not aware of their blood sugar levels in real time. And my goal is to teach you how to become metabolically flexible so that you have the ability to burn protein and carbs and fats efficiently so that you're not producing a lot of oxidative reactive species from burning glucose too quickly. And that would be the analogous of having kindling or having paper and burning it very quickly, seeing a lot of smoke, and then it goes away. That's kind of how we are when we're exhausted and burnt out. And when you take your blood sugar levels on a fast from the night before at a regular blood test, you are not aware of what your blood sugars are doing in real time, nor are you aware of all the influencers of blood sugar. And that's a real key. The third one I want to talk about is the nutritional replenishment shift. So this goes beyond just talking about I'm on a low FODMAP diet, I'm on an autoimmune diet, I've done a candida cleanse, I've done a lot of let's say biocidin, or I've done a lot of antimicrobials, and I'm just, I'm focusing on that. It goes beyond that. When you're exhausted and burnt out, you need to replenish your nutrients, and I want to do a shift about that. And then the last one is going to be about inflammation is immunity. And one thing you need to know is that if you're inflamed, then you have immune activation. And if you're chronically inflamed, then you have chronic immune activation. I want to talk to you about that shift. And then the last one is the readiness shift, which I made up myself in terms, well, I made up all of these, but I've put it in a unique way in terms of the readiness shift is all about an algorithm that looks at your circadian rhythm, the sleep-wake cycles, being on a routine, having dinner and lunch and breakfast, or at the same time, going to bed the same time, waking up the same time, and also how the light is being sensitized to you so that you're protecting your circadian rhythm, impacting your sleep cycles, how much activity you should be doing so that you can put all these pieces together. So my name is Dr. Joel Rosen, and I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja. And today I want to talk to you about the Pentagon of burnout recovery. So if you are suffering with fatigue, exhaustion, burnout, you couldn't focus, or you don't focus, you crash in the middle of the day, you don't handle your stressors very well, you get very anxious, you don't fall asleep, you don't stay asleep, you don't wake up feeling refreshed, forget about libido, forget about motivation, forget about drive, and just you're burnt out. And that was all before COVID-19. Where are we now? After 8 weeks, 9 weeks of being isolated, hopefully, like myself, who was taking their health for granted before this, has now used it as a kick in the butt to get back into shape. And I'm working every single day, thinking about how I can help you get your life back and not just be overwhelmed with stress And hopefully in this time, you're taking the opportunity to get back into health. But my hunch is that combined with watching the media, with not having an income or a steady job, or just being around the fridge and not being as active and maybe drinking a little bit more alcohol, you're more fatigued, you're more exhausted, you're more burnt out than you were starting all of this nonsense. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the 5 shifts, and I want to give you an opportunity of a lifetime. So here we go. So the shift of perception. The shift of perception is a really key shift. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology. I did that because when I was trying to get into chiropractic college, I had to get my GPA up higher. And so I went back and got a second degree and got my psychology degree. And I thought that was a waste of time. I could have already been helping people if I would have just got in right away. But it wasn't a waste of time, because all of the clients that I work with that do the best, think about the athletes. I don't have to convince them, hey, you need to do this, that, and the other. They're like, you tell me what I need to do, I'm going to do it. And they may have had some rough patches. It may not have been fair. They may have had to take the long way there. They may have been discriminated against. They may have had a lot of adversities. They may have had some injuries that were fluke injuries. There are a lot of things in life that aren't fair. And at the end of the day, it comes down to responsibility, ownership, and moving past that. And that's what a lot of that has to do with you getting better. Yes, it's not fair that you have this, that, the other. You've had an unlucky hand being dealt to you. You've had a lot of trials and tribulations. But does that paint how you look at life? And I know this sounds a little bit woo-woo, but the perception of the stressor is going to impact how the stressor is experienced. Whether we put a good spin on it, an autonomous spin on it, meaning we have control over it, whether we are grateful for it, whether we celebrate it, those are huge things that you need to do. And if you're not going to fix that, then we can't look at your genetics. We can't look at your inflammatory cascades. We can't look at your nutritional status. We can't look at balancing your blood sugar until that is handled. So we have a lot of different tools that we use to be able to help you with that. The second thing that we do is blood sugar control. This is huge. Blood sugar control. So let's talk about what typically people will do. They'll say, okay, I'm going on a low carb diet. I'm not going to eat as much. I'm not going to eat as frequent. And I'm not going to have as much stimulants. I'm going to eat foods, more vegetables, more healthy fats or less fats, a little more proteins. And those can be helpful. I've done that in the past, and my blood sugar didn't budge. And cortisol, adrenaline, stress hormones, excitatory hormones, sympathetic overdrive is going to shoot up your glucose. Inflammation, infections, food sensitivities, exposures to chemicals and toxins, histamine releases, those are all going to shoot up your blood sugar. And if you're not tracking and you're not keeping to an adherent schedule and understanding what your time restricted eating window should look like, and then you're not going to fix this. Plain and simple. At the end of the day, this is probably one of the biggest tools that we use to teach people how to get their energy back, because they need to coordinate, they need to calibrate the what's going on in the body physiologically with what's going on in your mind psychologically. And there's a difference between psychological hunger and physiological hunger, or what I like to say, psychological cravings and physiological hunger. And until you start analyzing your glucose, you'll never know that. The third thing that we look at is nutritional replacement. So this is a huge shift, because think about it, or nutritional replenishment. When your adrenals are taxed to the max, they're your mineral corticoids. So your electrolytes are imbalanced. Potentially you have a microbiome that's disrupted. You're not making secretions. Your healthy flora is limited. You aren't making postbiotics nutrients that supports your immune system. You have infectious agents. Maybe you have overgrowth of bacteria or molds or chemicals or toxins, which is impacting your ability to absorb and utilize. So really you need to replenish those nutrients. That comes to, again, routines, that comes to certain foods, that comes to certain percentages of foods, that comes to understanding your perception and your blood sugar. So nutritional replenishment is key. Inflammation equals immunity. A lot of people don't understand that. So the more inflammation you have, that inflammation is a cascade of your immune system. The more inflammation you have, the more immune recruitment you have. The more immune recruitment you have, the more depletion you have. The more depletion you have, the more fatigue you have and burnout you have. So really understanding what goes into proper nutritional replenishment, the microbiome, your healthy flora, pathogens, and absorption. If you're eating the healthiest foods, but you're not absorbing them and you're not utilizing them and you're not you're not assimilating them, you're not going to get the best recovery whatsoever. And then the last one is the readiness shift. So I am a big fan of the Aura Ring. They have something called the readiness factor, and they use 3 buckets that contribute to that. They use, number 1, your sleep. How well is your sleep, which is based on a lot of factors, which is based on the timing, which is based on how deep or REM sleep you had, how much did you move, how active were you the day before. There's a lot of things that factor into the sleep. The other bucket is your activity bucket, how much you move. And if you are stagnant, you're not moving around, that can be very, very problematic for you. And the last bucket is what we call the readiness bucket. So the readiness for us looks at putting all these pieces together. Is your circadian rhythm and your life load, is it managed? Are you into a routine? Is your blood sugar managed? Are you active? Are you moving? Are you moving too much? That's what got me into burnout, was I was exercising excessively, and there's a Cinderella Goldilocks zone of too little and too much. And how's your perception? So what I wanted to do was I want to announce a 7-day program that I am having. And it's going to be called the Pentagon of Burnout Recovery. And it's going to be going through all of these shifts to teach you how to apply these shifts. It's an awesome program. It starts next Monday, and it's going to be every day, Monday through Friday, at 5 o'clock to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are going to be meeting for 2 hours each day. And each day we're going to be talking about the 5 different shifts that you need to do. So day 1 is the perception shift. Day 2 is the blood sugar shift. Day 3 is the nutritional replenishment shift. Day 4 is the inflammation is immunity shift. And day 5 is the readiness shift. Now on the next week, we will have the Monday and Tuesday that will be putting it all together. There's several bonuses. So number 1, the first bonus is Q&As on Saturday. So you'll have the ability to ask me questions. We will be able to troubleshoot what may be the major impact for you, your environmental triggers, maybe some of these things. That's going to be a bonus that we'll be having on weekends. Again, it's going to be 5 to 7 Eastern time on Saturday and Sunday. And then the other bonus, which I'm really excited to announce, is Keto Mojo has donated 50 Unit 1 kits for me. So they're glucose and ketone kits. The reason they are being donated is because they don't have the ability to put the USB chip in there, or it's built into there. So if you want to start to do some biohacking or data tracking, it's going to have to be by hand. So you'll be able to prick your finger, you'll be able to look at your glucose and ketones, but you won't have that USB integration. And I'm not selling it, I'm including it as a bonus for joining this program. I got 50 of them, so it's going to go to the first 50 that sign up for this program. So the question is, how much? Well, listen, I know I'm not going to charge you 10 to 12K that I work with my clients for, because we have this group program. We're not going to be meeting one-on-one. Potentially we are feeling the crunch of the economic times. So what I'm doing, drum roll, is I'm doing this for $24. $24. I mean, what kind of no-brainer is that? So $24, the first 50 people will get included the Unit 1 or the Model 1 glucose ketone monitor. I don't know what the value is of that. I saw that the value for the new unit is $69. So this is probably about $35 value. You will have to purchase the glucose and ketone strips, which you can get from me. But it's a great opportunity because it's a bonus. So the first 50 people, after this, I will post the link to this so that you will have the ability to join on. And then really, we're going to get clear on these 5 things. We're going to answer your questions, and we're going to help you recover so that by the time that this pandemic is over, you'll be able to hit the ground running. You'll have more energy, more focus, more libido, more drive, stress, more control over your stress. You'll get on a regular schedule. You'll be able to learn how to become metabolically flexible. You'll learn what the prioritization of your health is, and all for $24. So hopefully that's an awesome opportunity for you guys. If you have any comments, please comment in the link below. If you have any likes or suggestions, let me know. And then look for that link for the first 50 people to be able to get that free Keto Mojo Unit 1 included in on their investment. And I look forward to ending your burnout and fatigue nightmare. Have an awesome day.